Fernando?
Hi, Costas. I'm sorry I'm a bit
Hello.
late because I had an interview. Hello, how
I
are you?
know, I know you have three interviews. This is the third one. How are you?
Hello, I'm good. I'm good. What about you?
I'm doing fine. I'm doing fine. Thank you so much for doing this. Thank you
Great.
so much for your time.
No problem. My pleasure.
And most of all, thank you so much for coming back.
Oh, that's my pleasure. It's always great to come back to Greece. It's always a highlight of the tour.
Yes, you said that in our previous conversation about 3 years ago, two and a half actually. I
Wow.
never get bored when I'm in Greece and play live.
Never. I mean, first time it took a while to go to Greece, like I told you, because we've been together since the 90s and only in the 2001 we could go to Greece. But I remember, I will never forget that in the first 5, 6 visits to Greece, I never slept. There was so much to do, so many bars to go, so many people to meet, and to go around that I think only when we played our very first, I think it was called Rockwave, that I said, well, tonight I'm not going to go out. I'm very tired. We had a very big string of festivals, and people were like, the other guys went out, where's Fernando? Where's Fernando? And some people wanted to pick me up from the hotel. So it's very hospitable. I have lots of friends in Greece, even though we are separated by many countries. Portugal, it's to the west of Greece. I think that we get along very well with the Greeks. And one of my favorite persons and best friends, probably the best friend I have on the metal scene, is Saki Tόλη from Rotten Christ. So
I
I
know you
know I
played
know the
together.
Greek.
You
Yeah,
played together a few years
many
ago
times,
on
many
stage.
times. Yeah, and they are growing so strong. I'm so proud of it because I know how Sakis invests his time, money, and spirit. His life is rotten Christ beside his family and friends. So I'm very happy that they are, probably bigger than ever. Yeah.
You bet. And to tell you the truth, I personally believe that Sakis is the number one metal icon in Greece and
Oh,
one of the
definitely,
best
hands
figures
down. I mean,
in the business.
there's a lot of people. There's Morbid from Necromancia. There's Seth from Septic Flesh. But I mean, Sakis
Yes,
is,
indeed.
is yeah, Sakis has been there since forever. He's been in the scene. And I watched Rotten Christ in Greece last time we played together. I think it was I was watching the show at the Principal Club. I think it's Thessaloniki. I was
Yes.
in the side of the stage. Moonspell was playing before because I mean Rotten Christ is a power force in Greece. And I was looking to it, and I told him, my friend, I have Moonspell is big in Portugal. We just play our first arena show in 2024 to 8,000 people. I love the Portuguese people, our fans, but I don't see that passion, that connection. Anything you made, people were like, if you were like a guru or something, the lack of a better word, or like a Greek philosopher or someone important, like I wouldn't say a priest because it's from Rotten Christ, but he had this kind of messianic figure about him during life, especially in Greece, and I love to see that people really all eyes, even though he has a great band too, all eyes were focused on Sakis. Yeah.
I would like to take you on a journey of Moonspell playing live in every part of the world, every stage of the world, because you've been around the world too many times. And
Yes.
you know how the audience responds to that, from the beginning. And I always wanted to ask you that. Do you ever get the feeling that this concert is gonna go great? By the first few seconds on by being on stage and seeing just a few glimpses of what's out there.
Well, it's hard for us to take it for granted that it's going to be great, and not many bands think like that. Not the bands I know. But I think even when I go to a concert as a fan, I don't want to miss the first song. I don't want to miss the way they come on stage. I think that's one of the most important things on the concert. It's the way I come on stage, at least for uh, for Moonspell. But sometimes it happens that the first songs are great, then there is this problem or this thing or that you fucked up, you know. So a live show, it's like it's micro world. During 60, 90 minutes, anything can happen. So I'm always very excited to go on show, to go on stage, but I'm always very calm too, because I know that one advantage for us is that if the show doesn't go that well, there's always the next night and the next night. So I think that's something that keeps you grounded and it keeps you focused. And then to be on a show, it's like I'm never nervous, let's call it this way, because for me, it's much harder to be off stage than on stage. You know, I'm more nervous about the real world than about the fantasy worlds or the theatrics that is going to play in Moonspell. But sometimes you feel the vibe. Yeah, but it's always like one of the best things for Moonspell on the study is to manage the expectations, because sometimes, like the first times you go to South America and people are crazy and they want to break down the barriers, etc. When you go there, you cannot excite them more, otherwise there will be violence in the first days. Nowadays they have been more calm, so you have to control the show. You have to be the master of ceremonies. You have to let loose when they let loose. You have to pick them up when they are a little bit falling the energy. So there's a lot of things that go to my mind when I'm playing, besides, you know, singing well and in tune and in time and the lyrics, etc. But there's also, how can I say, you don't know the first songs, you don't know if it's going to be great or not, but it's the best chance for you to read the room, to see what kind of person would you be to that people. And sometimes I have to say, I like the challenge that we get on with the bang, and some people are just like, you know, with the arms crossed, and then in the end, they are screaming our name. I think that's the best for any band, to win them over, yeah.
You know what they say, and I would like your opinion on that, about the actual performance, the scale of performance of a band is based on the member with the worst night. For example, you could play like a god, and all the members appear to be great on stage, and one of you might have a bad night. And the actual outcome will be the bad night portraying. How do you feel about that? Have you ever encountered such a condition?
I mean, we've done hundreds of shows, so
that's why I'm asking you, because there's
sure,
thousands of shows.
Yeah, for sure. There was a bad night for everybody, but it's that sometimes people focus on the negative, you know, and say, oh, that guy fucked up, or that guy has. But my experience is that when you have a bad night and you show it to people, people are very, at least on the metal music, they're very empathic about it. They understand. I think metal fans are one of the remaining few, the last of the Mohicans, that understand that music is made by human beings. You know, when you go to a pop show and you go to a rap show, it's like everybody, their expectations are so high that everything has to be perfect, and people can even boo you, you know, when it comes to the shows. And also it depends on the side of the bands. What we do for Moonspell is that we don't have a particular ritual. We don't say, come on, let's go, it's the night of our lives. We're very calm. We're not like Portuguese at all when it comes to that, because like I said in the previous question, we have to be also with feelings, but in control of emotions. But we're always there for each other when the time is needed, you know, and we know that we are a unit when we go on stage, and that we have to perform as a band. We had our bad times, especially when our old drummer was already like very tired of playing, etc. So we got a new drummer, and already in 2020, and our energy went really much more up, because there's also a limited number of bad nights you can have until the whole band feels it's not worth it to go on stage anymore, when we kind of already experienced that. But like I said, it's like we know it's not going to be perfect, but we have to try our best. It's like there's a psychiatrist here in Portugal that handles with children, and he says that you are not a good parent, you are a good enough parent. And I think that's the same with the musicians. You are good enough musicians to be on stage. You don't have to be like the best because you're only human. And if you try something else, believe me, the fans are not fools. They know. That's why there's so many bands with pre-recorded, with playbacks right now, because it's all about the show. It's all about how they can impress people. But sometimes just going into the crowd and shake their hands is more impressive than having this pretend orchestra on stage, I think.
Last time you were here, you did an acoustic show. You invited Green Carnation on stage.
Mm-hmm.
And you've done a full band show as well.
We did, yeah. It was at least in Thessaloniki, it was a slow night, and that's why also we are coming back, because you don't want to give up. You never know; people might not have money, but there might be other shows, etc. Reincarnation, as you remember, had a problem, so we had only the guitar player who was very chaotic and very problematic. But still, those are the moments; those are the defining moments. People still still talk about those shows to us, because they knew that we were giving them something different. They were giving them more for their money. The acoustic thing, it's something that we do. We did another setup, a bigger setup. We did it in Wacken. We did it here in theaters in all around Portugal too. But it's cool because it's something that interacts with people. You know, the show is more distant in a way. It still interacts, but that was really just get naked of all the glamour thing, play some songs in different ways, and talk with the audience. So people really enjoy that. But I'm glad we have this opportunity now to also support or be the special guest of a bigger band, so we can have more people at the shows. Because if you don't tour, we have a lot of stuff to do here in Portugal. We have a new album, we have etc. But if you don't tour, people forget about you. There's a fine balance also between touring or over touring. So we did the first part of the Dark Tranquility tour, and they are really on a blast with their new album and Time Signals, etc. They're fans. It's a lovely album. They're lovely people. They have a great show. Some people say, "Oh, why is Moonspell supporting Dark Tranquility, not the other way around?" I say, "Well, it's easy. I mean, they have more fans, so it's mathematical. It's not, it's not what you want or what I want or what Michael wants. It's just what works best for the bill and for the night and for the promoter." But when I saw that they invited us, they had such a great, because Moonspell adds to the show. Of course, I'm not going to say that we are a completely unknown band. We have our songs, we have our moments too. We have our history too. So, but we got along so well with, friends, yeah.
Fan base, yeah.
Our fans, of course. So we got along so well, Dark Tranquility. There was so much friendship and respect. Like we said, love was in the air. Even though they are from Sweden, we are from Portugal, we got along very nicely. That they invited us, and first we said, "Well, I don't think we're gonna do it, because we got the new album. We want to do our own tours. We want to do our own." And then I said, "Well, that's exactly against what I think myself. We should Moonspell is in the business for 30 years because we took the opportunities. And if the tour was so well, if we could promote our music to other people too, let's say." And then when we saw that it wasn't like these European tours where all dates are in Germany, you know what I mean? But Greece, Serbia, Balkans, Baltic, Italia, etc. We said, we are on board, and I'm very glad we are on the board, and I think it's going to be 2 incredible nights in Greece.
It's going to be an incredible tour in general, because the billing is great.
I think it's great. I mean, even Hyras, it's like a younger band. They're not even 10 years old, but they have a really good female singer, and she's like, she's very hungry to take over the world, and it's very funny to see, because me and Michael as frontman, we do our stuff, but we know that we're not going to be like, we are content with what we have. We can have a little bit more, but it's great to see that hunger that people still have. It happens a lot with the new bands, and they're always restless. Oh, this is what I live for, and now I'm not going to take a shower because I'm going to meet my fans. And say, yeah, just go, just have your fun. It's like it's great to be on tour. So yeah, but it's a great feeling. It worked for many sold out shows on the first leg. And I think many people come to see Moonspell, many people come to see Dark Tranquility too. So it was a very, very good bill, yeah.
Fernando, I know for a fact, because you told me yourself, the previous time we talked together, that you have lots of material in your
Yeah.
journals, and that you have enough material for 2 albums, not just one. And I was wondering, when do we get to hear the good news?
Well, material we never stopped writing, but I had a kind of dilemma uh, because we are 30 years old as a band. This year it's the 30 years of Wolf Art, 3 decades of Wolf Art. Next year is going to be 3 decades of Irreligious. So I entertained the idea of why not be a legacy band? Why not play some shows? What's the point of making new music? I think there's a question that every musician, every honest musician has to answer. For instance, when I see Metallica struggling with a new album, I personally I didn't like. I mean, not liking it, but I didn't even thought it was like such a special album. I like Hardwired, but 72 Seasons, I think, well, but I understand as musicians that sometimes even if you are the biggest band in the world, you are not inspired and you just do it for reasons that I want to understand. So we kind of delayed and delayed the album. Hermitage, the last album, was from 2021. We had our label saying, what's up with the new album? But we did touring, we did the theater acoustic show in Portugal, we did the orchestra show in Portugal. That's all coming out. And we had to, I know it's very romantic sounding, but we had to feel the muse calling. And this year, late next year, I went with Pedro and Ricardo because we write the songs. And I said, I think it's time for a new album. I think it's time to man up and do something. And I think this is going to be one of the most important albums of our life. That's what I'm writing. I wrote a lot of lyrics, like 30 lyrics or more. We wrote a lot of songs. So we are now cherry picking, what's coming in the album, what's not coming in the album. It can be used later on. And I think we're going to have a new Moonspell album in the first semester of 2026. It's still in the early days. It's not going to be progressive like Hermitage because we've done that before. But I want to make an album that is about pure feeling and an album that people grab them immediately as a sound of Moonspell. So as I do more the lyrics than the music, I'm not writing about politics, so society, money, ambition. I think it's my reading. People have these every day in their news, in their feed. So I'm writing a very romantic, even gothic album about love, death. What are we doing here? More existentialism. And I think that's the direction we want to go now, so wish us luck because I think we will need it. There's so many bands coming, but I think it's high time and also as a kind of a reward to the fans that have waited so much for the new album. I think we never spend so much time in between albums, so it's got to be special. And for us too, because otherwise, why make something just to fill the calendar when you have albums like Wolf Art, Irreligious, or Extinct? So the stakes are high. So we have to be au pair with the stakes, yeah.
Well, I can wish you all the luck in the world, but I don't believe that you need it because you're always with great inspiration. You have great ideas, and at the end of the day, we always receive amazing material from you guys. I just wanted to ask,
Cool.
You have this theatrical approach when you sing, and throughout your presence on stage, I can get that vibe. It's all theatrical. It's all into that. And I was wondering if you ever thought about doing a monologue or something of the sort, embracing songs and lyrics that you have written and you have in your drawings and that you want to share with your fans.
Actually,
in
that's
general.
a great, yeah, that's a great idea. I mean, everybody needs luck. That's to answer you, you know. I think
You're right.
luck is
You're
a
right.
component that sometimes we ignore, but we've been lucky with Moonspell. Well, I think theater, I always loved theater. I always saw theater, not anymore because I don't live in Lisbon anymore. So there's not many companies coming through here, but I'm always paying attention to other forms of art, especially theater, because I think that's my mindset. Other people, other singers do something. I believe that it's theatrical to go to be on stage, definitely. And my script, it's like not even theater, it's more like opera, even. My libretto, it's my lyrics, and the music, it's the Moonspell music that the other guys play. So I always try, without being cheesy, to show to show the message, to show the feeling, to be warm to people, to dress the coat and to perform to my lyrics, because I'm not going to the supermarket. I'm not doing stand up comedy. I'm doing stuff that it's based upon experience, about pain, about love. You know, all these feelings are important. Well, you mentioned that I did many years ago. I did a theater play here in Portugal, like as an actor. I learned a lot from that. It was very challenging for me because I'm not a trained actor, so I was afraid that I would look like bad or overacting or something like that. But it was very cool. I also sung on that. It was from a Portuguese author, and it was a tale about. It was this big, huge, like cheap structure, because it was a tale about a girl that wants to go to the sea, and like many Portuguese people, and her father doesn't let her go to the sea because he was a sailor himself, and the sea is full of dangers. But she goes anyway. So I played one of the dangers. I played the pirate god, you know, and I had my things. And also lately, the History Channel Portugal branch, they did the documentary about 1755, the earthquake of Lisbon, and we have an album about that earthquake. So I was interviewed for the documentary, but they invited me to play also a priest that believed that the earthquake was caused by God. So I had to, you know, dress in the 18th century clothes, etc. So I made that priest, and before the tour, I'm going to make troubadour music. So I'm going to be on stage with the two medievalists. They play lute and violin and percussion, and I'm going to say something that is a very ancient tradition here in Portugal. That we call it songs, and they are songs of scorn and songs of friendship. So it's a bit acting too. So yeah, here and there, I never thought about the monologue. I never thought about a solo album, to be honest. Saki is always saying, you have to make a solo album. I said, I don't like to make solo album. I can make a project, but I have to work with other people. You know, music
Listen
for
to
me
the
is like
man.
this. Oh, sorry?
Listen to the man. He's got a point.
Yeah. He's got a point. I know in his album went very well, but I mean, I'm very attached to the way Moonspell makes music, and I have my solo things too, because I write novels and I have all the book things, and I'm also already in the circuit here in Portugal for the authors. But I'm always open to make new things, and there's always space for new experience, because I have a curious mind. I'm very fascinated about other forms of art. I cannot paint. I just can write and read and sometimes singing and shouting. So I'm very curious, because I think that some metal people say, well, I don't want to see the theatrics. And then when you go on stage, you see they could have seen a theater play. They could have taken a little course, because sometimes it feels like a bit too cliche, you know, for me. That's why sometimes I get bored of seeing metal, because I know everything that's going to happen. But for instance, when you go and see Iron Maiden, Bruce Dickinson is an actor. He knows his stuff. He knows how to move. He knows how to play. He knows how to, and I don't know if he ever made theater, but it surely looks like so. Yeah.
You're absolutely right about that. He's so theatrical as well. I have one more question to ask you, Fernando. Before I do that, I would like to thank you once more for your kindness.
No problem. My pleasure.
Taking the time to do this, and your wonderful Charles Baudelaire T-shirt. And
Oh yeah.
and let's say that you are with us, doing a show, right, somewhere in the planet, and you're done with the show, and you're just stepping out to meet your fans. One of them says, Fernando, I watched your show and I was so inspired that I want to become a professional musician. I want to live my life through that. What would you say to him? What would be your piece of advice?
Yes. I'm very bad at giving advices because I never wanted to be a musician. I wanted to be a philosophy teacher. That's why I studied and invested my time. And also it happened, so it's very hard for me to I can talk to that fan, of course. I can tell him a few things. I can give him some insight tips. But I feel that the best is when and it happened a lot with the 90s metal musicians, the best is that you just create something to express yourself, or to have fun, or to kill the time, or to kill the boredom. And then it happens that you become good enough, or talented enough, or lucky enough for people to support your band. I think one very important thing, it's the way you manage the expectations. I think that's nowadays, it's very hard. The pressure is on. The industry, the market always presses you to be very ambitious, to do the best you can, to spend the most time. And sometimes you have to be ambitious, but you have to have also, you have to be criterious too, because saying no sometimes it's as important as saying yes. Identifying the opportunities, it's very, very, very important, because after all, what I would say to that fan is there's no formula, there's no secret, there's no talent show. It can be sometimes a mixture of everything. Sometimes you go to a talent show and the guy that wins is not the guy that makes the career, but it was the guy that lost. It happens a lot here in Portugal. They go to talent shows and the guy that wins, just people forget about him. And the other guy or the other girl, they go and have a nice career. But I would say I'll focus more on the expectations. The expectations is to have a good time and to start building. And then if you're smart and if you're business savvy, I was a teacher in an audiovisual school, and I taught musical production, not studio production, but my course was from the demo to the stage. And people were very naive about it. They asked me, well, what should I say about music? I mean, first you start with your friends. For sure, you have friends and family. They should be your first supporters. Even if they hate your music, they have to support you. So it's always possible to live from music. It's hard sometimes it's not hard. It's easier for countries that they are in Central Europe geographically. For Greek and Portuguese are much more difficult because we have to fly almost everywhere. But I think that the best is to have a good hold on what is your value, not too much, not too little, and also to have a good hold on your expectations so you don't give up at the first bump on the road.
Right. Thank you so much, Fernando.
No problem, Costas. It's been my pleasure.
See you here in Athens next month.
See you in Athens. Okay. All the best. Ciao.
Ciao.
Bye.